Now I wish to mention another form of abuse that has been much publicized in the media. It is the sordid and evil abuse of children by adults, usually men. It is a most despicable and tragic and terrible thing. I regret to say that there has been some very limited expression of this monstrous evil among us. It is something that cannot be countenanced or tolerated.
Gordon B. Hinckley was the prophet of my youth, and even now I have a soft spot for him in my heart, despite now knowing some of the more problematic bits. In the April 2002 General Conference, incidentally the first General Conference after my mission, President Hinckley gave a talk in the priesthood session that had a profound impact on me, and made me proud to call myself a Latter-day Saint. Even back then, the Catholic Church was always in the news for their many child abuse scandals. But in light of events over the past several years, particularly last week, that talk now feels more like a smokescreen. President Hinckley talked a good game, but the church has definitely not walked the walk, as is now clearly evident.
The Lord himself said, "But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea." That's very strong language from the Prince of Peace, the Son of God.
I should say that is strong language from the Prince of Peace, quite unambiguous, in fact. I think it's quite an oversight that Jesus only included children who believe in him, and not all children, but I digress.
I quote from our handbook of instructions. The church's position is that abuse cannot be tolerated in any form. Those who abuse are subject to church discipline. They should not be given church callings and may not have a temple recommend. Even if a person who abused a child sexually or physically receives church discipline and is later restored to full fellowship or readmitted by baptism, leaders should not call the person to any position working with children or youth unless the First Presidency authorizes removal of the annotation of the person's membership record. In instances of abuse, the first responsibility of the church is to help those who have been abused and to protect those who may be vulnerable to future abuse.
I've heard way too many stories of abusers who never had an annotation on their record, and when they moved to another area that were given callings working with children and adolescents. Even without those annotations, why isn't God giving bishops the gift of discernment so they know not to give these people those callings? I'm glad President Hinckley said the first responsibility is to the abused, but as we are seeing, that has not borne out in reality.